So now we're going to talk with Ian Weeks for a little bit, and he's decided to run for office and live in Sacramento a lot of the week. Why would you do that? What's wrong with you? Tell us what's going on in your twisted mind.
Yeah,
sir.
Yeah, glutton for punishment, to be sure. I mean, it is the belly of the beast. I mean, it's to give you some perspective, I'm running for the state assembly. There are 80 seats in the California State Assembly. 61 are held by Democrats. There are 18 Republicans. So dramatically outnumbered. It's an enormous uphill battle.
Doesn't that only add up to 79?
That's right. There's one independent. Good quick math.
I'm a good adder.
So one independent. He was a Republican. He flipped to independent a couple of years ago.
Does he vote Republican or does he vote?
It's my understanding that he actually endorsed my Democrat opponent. So
he's basically a Democrat.
Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic. But I mean, I hate to bring too much seriousness into a Babylon Bee podcast, but
it's okay. We'll just make fun of you while you do it.
Everything, all of the quality of life indicators in the state of California are heading in the wrong direction. Crime's going up, cost of living's going up, gas is going through the roof. We've got massive homelessness problems. Massive drug addiction problems. I think that what a lot of our constituents are starting to wake up to is, my goodness, my quality of life is a lot worse than it used to be.
And it's that guy behind you. It's his fault.
That's right.
See the guy pictured behind you?
Guy behind me.
Not Kevin Sorbo.
It's Kevin Sorbo's fault. Man, I want to like him, but
not Kevin Sorbo.
Look, I mean, Gavin Newsom obviously is a big problem for this state. But again, if Gavin Newsom didn't have supermajorities in the state houses, I mean, again, 61 out of 80 seats in the state assembly, and we have a state senate with 40 seats, 31 are Democrat, 9 are Republican. The Democrats have in this state what's called a supermajority, which literally means they don't even have to talk to Republicans. They control significant majorities, we call them supermajorities, in both houses of the legislature, and they hold the governorship. So they can do whatever they want. Obviously one of the things that I have reminded people is that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. We keep electing the same people, and our challenge to California voters is, look, if you think things are going well, I guess keep voting the way you always have. If you think that things aren't going...
That always blows my mind, like how bad California was during the pandemic, and then you looked at the recall numbers, and I'm like, you guys were okay with all this? Like,
I don't understand it, because people were fleeing the state, including Democrats, including businesses, and the people that stayed here, they see the crime, they see the homelessness, they see what's happening, and then they go out and vote for the same thing over again.
Well,
unbelievable.
And I will tell you, I find it funny, a lot of my district is out in the desert, and the 10 freeway runs through it. My opponent has a billboard that has a pretty picture of him, and it says, "Help me continue fighting for you." And you say
farting for you?
That's right. Yeah. And
good one. He told you he'd made jokes in your serious talk.
That's what it sounded like.
So I mean, I'm tempted.
I'm seeking clarification here.
Fighting. I'm tempted to put a billboard behind it that, indicates crime's up, cost of living's up, gas is up, homelessness, drug abuse. How exactly are you fighting for us, right? Or maybe, a pretty picture of me that says, help me actually fight for you. I mean, it's remarkable, but one of the things that I'm learning...
Pretty? Was the picture pretty? Is he a good-looking guy?
I mean, he's a regular-looking guy, and by all accounts...
He was saying the picture of him would be pretty.
Yeah, well, first he said his opponent had a pretty picture.
Yeah. Well, Photoshop is real, and so we can make it work for me regardless.
Okay.
But I mean, I am learning, as you mentioned earlier in the podcast. I'm new to politics. I kind of had a sense of what to expect, but I am learning very, very quickly that these folks have no problem just saying things. We were joking earlier about the fact that because I came out in support of the overturning of Roe v. Wade, and my actual position on it was, as someone who's running for the state legislature, I welcome the opportunity for this to be returned to state legislatures to be decided by the voters of the individual states. They took that and ran with it and said, not only am I pro-life, but I actually want to take away people's right to birth control and even condoms. So, I mean, it's remarkable. It doesn't matter if it's true. It doesn't matter if there's any basis in fact. It's just, well, if we say it often enough and loud enough, people will believe it. So, this billboard will, help me continue fighting for you. It's just assumed to be true. But again, folks, look at your quality of life. I mean, you can say, I'm fighting for you. I likened it recently to hiring a bodyguard that lets you get beat up every day for 2 years straight. I say 2 years because the term in the assembly is 2 years, but lets you get beat up every day for 2 years straight, and then comes back to you at the end of that 2 years and says, extend my contract, help me continue fighting for you. I mean, what an absurd statement. I'm not going to rehire you. I'm going to hire someone else. You let me get beat up all the time. I'm bloody, I'm beat up. Let's try something different. And that's what we're exhorting the folks in California to do. Try something different. It seems insane to not consider that.
He's trying to take away each of our personal hobos that we talked about in the last episode. Last episode, we determined that each person in California will soon be assigned their own hobo.
Yeah.
This is my hobo.
So instead of the Adopt a Highway program, it'll be Adopt a Hobo.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's nice.
And they become a hobo. How you go from being homeless to being a hobo is you have a bindle. Then you become
The
a
bindle
hobo.
is the difference, is what we
Right,
determined.
right. So we need to make sure that we're correctly identifying hobos,
Hobos,
as we adopt
yes.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want them to culturally appropriate homeless culture.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Or vice versa.
Right. Identity is very
I was sitting
important.
outside at this restaurant on Ventura the other week, and a hobo was groking me.
Nice job, Adam.
Was he also fudgling?
No, he did that behind the dumpster. But anyway, what do you think we can actually do to address some of these problems in California? Things like homelessness and the crime rate. What policies or issues do you think we could do to change that?
Well, and you talk about how bleak it is in the assembly. Why does it matter getting one more seat for the Republicans?
Right. Well, so, one of the things that I talk about, right, is, and we talked about this earlier, a lot of folks are fleeing the state. And I completely understand that. I don't blame anybody for leaving. But at some point, somebody's got to stand up and fight for our values. And so, the short answer to your question is, I mean, this isn't going to change overnight. We've been losing this state for decades. It's not going to change tomorrow. But the surest way to lose a fight is to not get up again. And in my view, we got to get up. We got to fight back. We have to advocate for our values. We have to let people meet us and hear from us and learn that we're not we're not the caricature that our opponents say we are. The question is, do you really think California can be saved? And I mean, again, as I said, the surest way to make that, make it a fact that it can't be is to do nothing. We've been doing nothing for long enough. Somebody's got to stand and fight. And I've said numerous times, my life would be much easier if I didn't do this. I am not a politician. I've been a certified financial planner for nearly 2 decades. As you said, I'm a chicken farmer. I'm a worship leader at my church. I got a lot of other things going on in my life. I had a great life before I was called and asked to run for this office. It really truly is a lot of personal sacrifice, but it's important. It's important. There are people that are suffering right now that don't have an advocate, that don't have a voice in this state. And if it's got to be me, then I'm willing to do that.
And you can't bring your chickens to Sacramento, so someone's got to feed them while...
Yeah. My wife and kids are going to have to step up to the plate. Okay. And in the Adopt a Hobo program, I mean, we may have an opportunity to, dual purpose there, right? Get a little bit of domestic help around the house in exchange for.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, so the primary's already passed, right? So general election coming up.
Yep.
So anybody in the
all of Imperial County, eastern portions of Riverside County. I have a small sliver of San Bernardino County, which is really Needles. That's pretty much all of San Bernardino County that I have. I do want to remind folks that at the end of the day, a California state legislator is a California state legislator. So if you don't live in my district, you may not be able to directly vote for me, but you can absolutely help make sure that other people do by donating to the campaign. IanWeeksForAssembly.com. You can go check it out. I've had folks, I know a guy that used to live here in Southern California, moved to Indiana, sent a campaign contribution because he knows that it's important. What we're doing matters. So anybody can support what I'm doing. And ultimately, if you want somebody who's going to vote your values up in Sacramento, support the campaign. We're fighting a real David and Goliath fight here, and I'm willing to stick my own neck personally on the chopping block. I would say I'm going to make that
like
sacrifice.
A real chicken farmer.
Right? It's I'm willing to go up and do that.
Get beheaded and feathered and stuff.
Well, I just last night it came to my attention that I totally got tarred and feathered. They put out this supposedly objective public opinion survey that was just a total hit piece on me, and had all kinds of I'm basically this crazy radical extremist. That's what they do. They're going to tar and feather.
Well, that means you get a shot, because they don't do that unless they're a little scared.
Yeah, I hope so.
Usually they just ignore. They usually just ignore the other candidate if he's got no shot. So
yeah. Hopefully it's a good sign.
All right, cool. Well, check it out. Vote for Ian Weeks if you're in the district. If you're not, vote for anybody named Ian on the ballot. I'm sure they're a good guy.
Oh, hi, Satan here. I just wanted to tell you, as the father of lies, I'm so proud of the Babylon Bee for spreading right-wing misinformation under the guise of satire. Just like me, they're tricking grandmas on Facebook every day, so like and subscribe or whatever. You do you.